Who's got it? Over here to the left, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
At what point during the game did your thoughts already start thinking into next week?
No comment. Yeah, I can't get into that. I mean, it's, I would just say, though, that our team did a great job of staying focused this week. Not easy to do for anybody, but we did. We stayed in the moment and, played well. But, the minute we get into that locker room, it's on to the next week.
Over here to the right, Clay Hall, WSYX, and then Tim May.
That 1 minute sequence to start the second half turned the game, and was that the result of some comment at halftime?
Well, we wanted to win the first 5 minutes. We ended up scoring, I think, 14 in the first minute. Touchdown, turnover, touchdown. It's something that we talked about all year, is coming out in the second half and playing well. Every year you try to identify the areas that you want to improve on, and that was an area that we wanted to do a great job with. And so good to see us come out like that and gave us a little bit of a cushion, and then allowed us an opportunity to get some of those guys out of the game and rest it up for next week.
Cameron Teague Robinson, The Athletic.
Ryan, in the last 2 weeks, you guys have nearly put up 1,000 total yards. Just what have you learned about Kyle the last 2 weeks that you think will benefit him going into?
Yeah, no, you can see him when he's on rhythm and making some big time reads down the field. I thought he threw some good balls today, and when he's playing situational football and his feet are in rhythm like that, you can see. I mean, we got the weapons and he's got the talent. So, it's all been a build up towards this week to go swing as hard as we can and play our tails off. And so I feel like we have all of our weapons here and healthy. And that's great. We'll get Tommy back for next week. Tommy was ready to play in this one, and I had to pull him back, and it was almost a fist fight, but I won. It took some I'll be honest, it took some late night texts last night he wanted to play, and this is a guy who has put so much into this program. Coming back, and for senior day, for him not to be out there was really hard for Tommy, really hard. But I just explained to him there's just too much on the line moving forward to risk any kind of setback, that we need him at his best. And he was, after some calming down, he was okay. But it was not easy for him to not play in this game, and that was my decision. He was ready to go. He pushed himself to get to a point, but he'll have another great week of practice and be at 100% going into next week.
Over to the right, Austin Ward, the podcast, and then Tim May.
Ryan, I'm sure you'll look more closely on film, but did you feel in the first half when you talk about Kyle's footwork, it seemed like maybe he wasn't in quite the same rhythm as he was a week ago? Did you have that sense at all in the first half with him?
I have to look at the film quickly. We're not going to really dive into this film all that much, but we are going to grade it and make sure we stay with our routine. I have to look at a couple of them. I know there were a couple that the looks were a little bit different than what we expected, and so in those moments, you got to keep your feet moving and move on to the next thing. So I think there was some good play, and then there was some things that we could probably scheme up better, and then also moving on from the first or second thing and try to find the next part of it.
Over to the left, Rob Aller, Columbus Dispatch, and then Nathan Baird.
Ron, what's the challenge of the fine line between playing guys and taking them out so they don't get injured? And were you swallowing hard at the end of the first half when Kyle drops back and gets hit there and kind of gets up slowly?
It is you got to thread that needle. You do, and ultimately, we have to win every game. So that's the number one goal. But you can't do anything. Anything less than 100%. I mean, when it's time to go, you got to go. And you certainly can't go in there and try not to get people hurt. It doesn't work that way. You got to go, and we did. We played hard. We played physical. But when we were able to come out in the second half and build a little bit of that cushion, it was good to get those guys out and get them some rest. And that was the ideal situation for us. Is that if we could get them out and not play a full game, it allowed us a little bit more rest heading into next week.
What were you thinking at the end of the half there? With
I think we had 4 drives inside the 10 or so, and I guess we could have just jumped into a 2-minute and fired it down the field, but a tip ball or something goofy or a sack, and the ball comes out, and all of a sudden you're into the fourth quarter, and I just felt like we had the ball coming out in the second half. So we ran it a few times. We got a first down. Then we got the penalty. But even the third down, I should have just run it. I mean, I knew the crowd wouldn't be too fired up about it, but that's the job of the head coach to just make the decision that's best for the team at that moment. But there was still, I think, 20 seconds on the clock, and I felt like maybe if we got a first down, we had a couple timeouts left, we could possibly push it up for a field goal, and the game was still in the balance at that point.
Tim May, the Tim May Show.
Yeah, Ryan, just your defense, once again, a 50-something yard field goal cost you a shutout. I mean, do you feel for those guys a little bit as hard as they played tonight? And then number two, TreVeyon Henderson, once again, the big burst. I mean, it's obvious what he brings, right?
Yeah, no, he's a home run hitter, and the more opportunities he gets, and he gets to the second level, he's dangerous, once we get him back there, and it's everybody's job to get him there. And I thought on that play in particular, I have to watch the film, but I think Emeka and I think Julian sprung him on the perimeter, but the guys up front did a nice job moving the line. I think Cade did a good job too on the backside of that. And you were asking about the defense? Yeah, well, listen, I just, not having Tommy out there, we've had a couple guys down. I think we should be at full capacity next week, which is great. But it's all going to be tested next week. And but you're seeing the strides. I mean, it is what it is. We're getting better every week. But it's all headed towards the end of the season and playing our best football.
Nathan Baird, Cleveland.com, and then Dan Hope.
When you say you think you'll be at full strength next week, does that include Mike Hall?
Yeah, I mean, I'll try to give you guys somewhat of an update next week, but yeah, we're expecting to get everybody back.
And with Kyle, you've talked before this season about how over the course of the season, the answers you're getting from him when he comes off the field has been progressively better. Were you getting the answers you wanted tonight in those red zone short field situations?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, for the most part, he saw it. It wasn't. There wasn't one where he came back and said I didn't see it that way. There was a play action pass where the corner was there. I asked him if he saw the corner. He said yes. He still made the throw and he snuck it in there, which was a really good ball. So no, I think he's seeing it well, and yeah, I mean the communication's been good.
Over here to the right, Bill Landis, the podcast.
Ryan, it seemed like Emeka had his burst back today. I don't know if you felt that too down there, and how important was it to kind of get him feeling like himself again going to the next week?
Huge. Yeah, it was. I saw it too. Saw it a little bit this week, and then it was great to see him in the game, kind of playing like that. You could see him. We tried to get him involved with a couple runs, a couple things on the perimeter, just to kind of see that. And yeah, I mean, he's getting as close to 100 as he could possibly be.
Over to the left, Dan Hope, 11 Warriors.
Ryan, Jack Sawyer had 3.5 tackles for loss today. Could you see that kind of performance coming from Jack with the way he's been playing lately?
Yeah, he's been playing hard. His attitude's been great. Yeah, I think what do you have? Four something tackles, sack, and then the sack fumble, which was big, right? That was Jack, and then he had the 3.5 TFLs, which is excellent. So yeah, I think he's getting better every week. Good news is best football's ahead of him. But another guy who just keeps putting time in, man. He just keeps putting days together. He keeps preparing, keeps grinding. Just like a bunch of those guys on defense. And that all we're counting on to pay off here down the stretch.
All right, we're going to take just a few more questions for Coach, but in the meantime, I've got Jack Sawyer here. I'm going to move him to the far back table to the left. So if everybody at the tables could clear off there, those are for the student athletes. Jack, if you don't mind going to the far left. All right, well, over here to the right, Dylan Davis, Delaware Gazette.
To play Dallin today and burn one of those games he has left.
Yeah, so he had 2 left, and so that's it. So and then he's got next week. So
was there any part of it where you just wanted to get him some run out there to keep him fresh in case you would need him tomorrow or next week or down the stretch?
Yeah, we felt like we wanted to get him in the game a little bit because it's been he hasn't played a ton this year, and I thought, like you said, going into next week or moving forward, it'd be good to get him some carries. I don't know how many he ended up with. Yeah, 8 carries. That's pretty good. 4.2 yards a carry. Thought he ran good when he was in there.
Can he play the big pass? Can he play past the Big Ten championship game? If in fact he's going to college football playoff?
Yeah, the way that it's been done in the past is that you get 4 games and then you have postseason. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go 2 more questions for Coach Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
Ryan, as you had asked earlier, Emeka looked a little bit better
today. Obviously, Marvin's been Marvin all year. The way TreVeyon is running, the way Kyle's progressing. Is this offense 11 games into the season where you want it to be heading into next week?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're here. We're here now. And is there always things we want to get better at? Absolutely. But I think you're seeing the identity that we're looking for. I think you're seeing the run, you're seeing the pass, you're seeing the explosiveness, and that's what we want. And so we're 11 games in, time to go play.
Spencer Holbrook, Letterman Row.
Ryan, you talk all the time about how everything falls back on the head coach, just at everything level of the program. Next week means everything to the program. Is it easier to stay focused on the days ahead when you have the guys that you just credited staying locked in on the days ahead and not trying to get ahead of themselves? How much easier does that make it for you to stay?
Yeah, I think the key is to stay in the moment. You know, there'll be emotion this week. There'll be a lot of there'll be a lot this week, but there'll be noise, there'll be everything. What we have to do is we have to do a great job of preparing. We can't do anything different. We have to continue to stay with our routine and then focus on maximizing every minute of this week. And then noon on Saturday is going to come. That's not going to come any faster by us, doing something else. So we need a great week of preparation. And then, we're all in this thing together. We are. I love this team. We've been working hard to get to this point. And so we need a great week of preparation. And then we get on that bus and we head to Ann Arbor.
And one final question for Coach Rob Aller, Columbus Dispatch.
Yeah, I don't know your game day schedule, but did you watch any of the Maryland-Michigan game? Did you catch any of that, and what'd you think?
I might have. Yeah, I might have. When you have time, you're always watching the other games, and certainly that one was on.
Great. Coach, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Ryan.